I was a nun.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah. I wasn't a slutty nun, but it was cold, so I'm glad I wasn't. I needed the full garb, the full robe.
I mean, you could have been. You still could have been.
I could have been, but I'm glad I wasn't.
Yeah, just because you dress non-slutty doesn't mean you're not a slutty nun, you know?
Yeah. Behavior dictates that. And if you'd like to talk about that more, we can. But
Or habit, one might say.
Hey.
Oh,
Nice.
Hey.
Yeah, so just prepare to...
It'll be great.
It'll be perfect.
Y'all motherfuckers don't watch us play throughout the year, to tell you the truth. I'm gonna be real with you, and I don't care if I get fined.
That must be Jervis. Put the shoes down.
that train is off the tracks.
Who doesn't love the bouncy castle?
Hitler.
Just prepare to... yeah, so just prepare to be awash in undebeatable goodness.
Welcome, Pacers fans. You were listening to the Undebeatables, your semi-weekly Pacers podcast. Today is October 27th, 2024, and this is episode 723. Coming to you from Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm your host, Joey Gaffrida, the man behind the dials. This show, we're going to discuss a 1-2 week of Pacers basketball with games against Detroit, New York, and Philadelphia. Joining me this show are all three of our analysts, coast to coast, like buttered toast. First, from the high school home of Jamison Brewer, Silver Spring, Maryland, it's the doctor, Jason Triplett.
What is up, Pacers fans? What is up? Undebeatables. Shout out this week to my lovely wife, Jill. We celebrated our 5th anniversary last night.
Wow.
Hey.
Went out on the town like we were back before we had kids. It was great. And then we were home by 11.
Congratulations.
It's not even been that long, and I can't remember back that far.
Went to the wedding?
Back to last night.
To before children.
Yes.
BC, I guess. From Asheville, North Carolina, he's our in-house bartender mixing up the drinks and the crappy jingles. It's John Filthy McNasty Coalson.
What is up, Pacer Nation? What is up, Undebeatables? This week, I'd like to shout out to all of the ads that keep texting me. I'm getting about 30 to 50 a day that tell me that, they're like, well, we're going to quit because you didn't send us $20 for the election. So I guess the world's going to crumble because I didn't send my $5, right? Well, it reminds me, it made me feel like that this week. I think this is my last podcast, guys. It was a tough week, so I'm just folding up the tent and going home. Done being a Pacer fan.
Wow.
Now, you got a tent? Aren't you fancy?
Yeah, look at this guy.
Need to do another telethon? What's going on? Don't understand.
And from Tacoma, Washington, out west, it's our enforcer, John Harper.
What is going on, fellas? Shouting out the upcoming election. And enjoy being bothered by this two-party system while you can.
Ooh.
Too soon. Too soon.
Not soon enough?
Too late.
For Harper, every day is January 6th. Well, before we start the show, and while you still can, I just want to remind listeners that they can support us, the longest-running Pacers podcast, by heading over to patreon.com/undebeatables, and you can support our show for as little as $1 per month, as long as there's a democracy still in place.
Do you think we should send texts out to all of our fan base and say...
Gotta text the ad, yeah.
Yeah. and say, "Hey, we've texted you 6 times now. You haven't given us anything. We're gonna quit the pod if you don't do it."
Yeah. So many people are crying. A lot of people are saying they're crying uncontrollably because I didn't send them $20. Or they'll say all we need is $20 to win the election. It's one or the other. Mm-hmm. You're getting a lot of mixed messages.
Yeah. Or just scammers calling you for money. Potentially.
Yeah.
I've been getting both. More political stuff, but some random people just texting me saying, we're supposed to meet. Where are you? And I don't know what their end game is.
Just want a new friend.
To get your
Yeah.
they need a new friend. To get your phone number and sell it to the Democrats or the Republicans. That's what they want to do.
Well, it seems like my number is public knowledge at this point because I just block it. It's text comes in, asks for money. I report it as spam, and then 4 more come in.
Yeah,
it's like whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, normally I feel like the first show of the regular season isn't the one where I say this is the wheels are off and we're done. Well, how about this?
Every year's different.
We'll talk about the first game and then the wheels come off. So, first game of the season, Wednesday, October 23rd. Pacers on the road against Detroit, and they win this one 115-109. Little slow start down at halftime, but came back in the second half and closed well. Pascal Siakam had a nice game, 19 points. Miles Turner with 20. We'll talk a little bit more about Halliburton here. He was not where we remember him towards the end of last year, but 15 points for him. And Mathurin and T.J. McConnell both with double digits off the bench. Cade Cunningham looks pretty good. Pretty good. 28 and 8 for him. But Detroit's not going to be that good this year. So we took advantage of them winning, spoiling their home opener, and going up and starting the season off the way we hoped we would, with a good win on the road. Then Pacers head to New York for the second game of the season, Friday, October 25th. And did you guys know that they have like late night clubs in New York City?
Okay.
And celebrities might be there too.
Interesting.
Which may be friends with players that we know. Or maybe that wasn't the case, but regardless, Pacers lose 123-98. And came back with a good effort in the fourth quarter, but it did not matter because they were already stomped. High scorers. I don't know if we're going to see this a lot this season, but Benedict Mathurin gets 20 points off the bench.
Interesting. I would have predicted such a thing.
Yeah.
That would be wild. But it was I hope that. Here's the thing: if that prediction comes true, fantastic. If he's the highest scorer on our team, not fantastic. But Pacers lose this one. Of note, All-Star Tyrese Halliburton ends with 0 points, 1 rebound, 5 assists, and a steal in 25 minutes of play. From the New York side, they really, just took over in the second half. It was this new look Knicks team, which we'll talk about with Karl Anthony Towns now joined the roster, and he posted 21 and 15 on us. So far, so good for him. And last game of the week, the one my boy and I just went to, we saw the matinee Philadelphia 76ers at Indiana for the home opener there, Sunday, October 27th. And in OT, Sixers spoil our week. Knock the wheels off the cart. and knocked the supports out from the sky. The sky's falling. This game was up and down. The Pacers started slow, made a nice run back towards the middle of the game, and let it slip away. And then really we're down very late in the game. Halliburton hits this, pretty sweet hesitation clutch, double clutch floater three that goes in, puts the
trying
game
to get
overtime.
fouled is what he's trying to do.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to speak too highly of it because it didn't look great.
No.
But it goes in and sends the game to overtime. And Tyrese Maxey says, "Oh, I love overtime. That's where I can just drop 10 points."
And all of the guys on our team said, we love to miss free throws in overtime.
There was a lot of that too. So anyway, and this was a team without Embiid and without Paul George, and they did have Tyrese Maxey, who dropped 45 on our heads. I guess I was a little concerned from this game. Halliburton did put up 22. He looked better, but I still don't think he looks the way we expect. There were some, highlights for me. Neesmith had stretches of play where he just kind of took over on both ends of the floor, which was pretty great. And McConnell was doing kind of normal McConnell things, just being aggressive and making stuff happen. Mathurin is underperforming today. He struggled a bit, just 5 points, but he was pretty aggressive, but wasn't padding the stats today. So, Coalson, we're 1-2. We lose to this team, which it's at home with a good crowd in the house, and without their two biggest names, and we can't take it at home. We look bad in New York. How bad are we? Should we pack it in?
Yeah, our one win was against Detroit, which we predicted to be below the Vegas prediction of 22 wins or something like that.
Right.
We were down 8 at halftime against them. We played better in the second half, but it wasn't a super convincing win. We couldn't hit the broadside of a barn in New York. Everybody's shot was broken. And then in this Philly game, I'm not sure the guys are on the right page. We seem disconnected offensively and defensively at times. I'm now starting to get in an argument with my lovely girlfriend Erica, who before the season started said that Tyrese Halliburton was overrated, and I got a little mad at her, and I cannot talk shit back. Because the man is not showing up. He's supposed to be our best player. He put up a donut in New York. He hits this game tying 3-pointer in their home opener. But again, it was just a sloppy attempt to get fouled, and he was lucky it went in. I don't know. This is all very concerning.
Harper, where are you on this? Are you concerned about this, or is this just the beginning of the season? Jitters and pressure and just shaking off the rust for a lot of these guys.
I was not super surprised that the Knicks came out and wanted to hand us something after us beating them on their home floor last season. I think is going to leave a bad taste in a competitive team's mouth. And Tom Thibodeau played all his guys for 35 minutes like he does, even when they were up 30. That's not like a super surprising loss on some level. And should we beat Philly with Embiid out, who's being apparently going to be investigated by the league because he's already doing load management? Way to go, Embiid. That doesn't bode well for them. But that team was 0-2 going into that game. They just needed a win badly, right? So it's going to be a tough schedule for us to start the season for sure. But there was plenty of stuff to be legitimately concerned about. I mean, everybody on New York yoked on us. Like, everybody up and down that roster just decimated our guys, right? We got manhandled by Andre Drummond and Caleb Martin on the glass.
We cannot rebound.
We can't rebound, right? And we knew it was
we
going to be a
love
problem
giving the
coming
other
into
team the
season.
ball.
Yep, they were plus 17 on the boards in the Philly game, and plus 10 in the Knicks game. Would those 10 rebounds have been enough to change that game? Probably not, but maybe that's 10 points. It might have got us closer. So that's going to be an ongoing concern for us. The offense will come. There's not going to be a lot of nights in this league where we go 3 of 30 from three-point land like we did in New York. Like, that's not going to happen every night out. And obviously we didn't do a great job closing against Philly. But it is early, so it's a little early for the panic button for me. But, yeah, it's stuff that we knew we were going to have to work on, and we're already not doing. It's just a little disappointing in that regard.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, the sloppiness is what frustrates me the most. I mean, I think we had 19 turnovers in this Philly game today.
Yep.
And
It's not a
15
good number.
in each of the other games. Last year it was less likely for us to go over 10 turnovers in a game. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's... a lot of it is Tyrese, I think. I think a lot of it is teams know exactly what we do. And so they're picking us up 94 feet, and we're not able to run the way that we did last year. I think that is part of it. I mean, I'll say it's silver linings. Like that Detroit game, like the first game of the year, regardless of who you're playing, is like a toss-up. Like I feel like it's throw the expectations out the window. Like I thought that we played pretty well in the sense that it was a professional win. I was excited that it was a professional win. We kind of struggled. We weren't playing our best. Like Cade Cunningham took over the game for a stretch. We couldn't do anything about it. But when it came down to the last 5 minutes, we kind of took over the game. I mean, we could have even won that game by 10 or 15. We just missed a few shots, right? And then, yeah, like you said, Harper, the New York game, you're not beating anybody in this league if you make 3 3-pointers. It's just not going to happen. The whole team was broke. So
yeah, we weren't even hitting the rim.
Yeah. And New York was doubly motivated, not only because, we beat them on their home court in Game 7 last year, but they got their asses handed to them by Boston on opening night for the entire world to see, And so you knew they were going to come out with a little bit more juice in Game 2 there. And they had an extra day rest, so.
Or Thibodeau was going to eat babies.
Right, exactly, yeah. I mean, I didn't see the Philly game today, but it looked like it was back and forth. It looked like it was, Halliburton, even though it's a funky shot, it was a, game-tying shot. It was a clutch shot, which is what you like to see. Yeah, and, I mean, we talked about when we did the schedule pod how coming out of the gate, it was going to be really tough. We just have a tough opening schedule. It doesn't get any easier this week. So yeah, the dudes just got to rally and keep grinding and find their groove,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's my concern a little bit is the disconnect. We're not really on a string defensively, and not that we were ever really a good defensive team, but I felt like we made some adjustments. We were starting to be a more competent defensive team after Siakam got on the squad and as we went through the playoffs. And, the offense has just, you might be right. Maybe the league has figured this out a little bit. But, I mean, there's so many, Miles Turner throwing an empty pass to Siakam, but Siakam goes the other way and it just flies out of bounds. I mean, Detroit had active hands and popped a lot of things out of it, from behind. But a lot of it was just our own mistakes. Mm-hmm. And this is the team that's the same coaching staff and the same guys from last year. I thought there'd be a little bit more continuity.
Yeah, I mean, that's, for me, I think that's what, like Jason, you're right. Like the first game of the season, yeah, it's usually sloppy, and who knows what's going to happen. But I expected less of that from this team. Yeah, because there was so much continuity. Essentially they had their break, and a couple of the guys were playing over the summer. But in general, yeah, it's the same guys that they should be pretty used to each other, and there should be less of this stuff to worry about. I mean, this is why you have continuity, so you don't have to, build all that. Just the ins and outs and the minutia of being a highly functioning team. You don't have to build that up from scratch. And
instead, it looks like we added nothing and step backwards. Just
well, I mean, and there was like particularly today at the Philly game, we were missing those. We talk about rebounds, today, but the rebounds, they're missing these rebounds, and then Philly gets these extended possessions where, and then I think there was one where it's like late in the game where we missed a rebound where we should have been on a break the other way, and they pick it up and hit a three, kind of while the flow is going back the other way. And I think it was Lowry just picks it up and just drains a three, where somebody should have got a mid on that thing. And it's a whatever 5-point swing because of that. And so that's the kind of stuff I think, and the fans of that, Indiana fans don't like extended defensive possessions. Like, they let the team know to grab that ball.
Yeah, I mean,
so those are the kind of things that we're...
the one thing that has me concerned is that it seems like there's we talked about in our preview pod, and one of my fears was that this team made this magical run to the Eastern Conference Finals, and they're kind of a young team, so maybe they'll rest on their laurels a little bit. And you got the sense that's kind of happening right now. Like, they're not paying attention to the details and doing the little things and fighting for all the loose balls and stuff like that. I didn't think in the couple games that I saw, outside of a couple guys. Like, I mean, Matherin looks awesome. Like, he looks ready to take over the league. And he's hungry, and I feel like he has something to prove, right? Because he wasn't on that run. I wasn't super... Obviously, Halliburton gets all the headlines, but I also wasn't super impressed with sort of Siakam's leadership and ability to just take the game by the scruff of the neck. He did it for stretches in the Detroit game, but like... That New York game, I mean, they're guarding him with Josh Hart. Like, come on, man. Just give the dude the ball. Just let him go to work. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and another thing that we talked about was the just absolute need to not be the worst fouling team in the league and play defense without fouling. We haven't held a team under 28 trips to the line yet this season, so that's not great. Just a parade of free throws in all of these games.
I would say before the New York game got out of hand, there was a little stretch where Miles Turner looked. I think he hit like 2 or 3 threes in a row and had a couple blocks on the other end and some tough rebounds. And I went, ooh, if Miles Turner is going to be like this, then let's put the league on notice. And then he kind of disappeared. Siakam, I thought, had his moments in this Philly game where you just need 2 points, and we found it for him, and he was able to put it in the bucket. But yeah, long stretches of him not even touching the ball. So I don't know. And they had Caleb Martin on him. It's not like he was a big guy. So
I mean, he sure did play big with his 12 boards and doing a great job on Pascal.
Right.
Why couldn't we do anything about Maxey?
I mean,
Maxi's fantastic.
He's an elite scorer. I mean, he's
a bucket
taking it
getter.
away, but
yeah. But you gotta take advantage of him on the other end, right? He's maybe a better defender than he was, but he's not a first team all defense kind of guy, right? You just got to take advantage of him on the other end and make him work. And We weren't doing a great job. We weren't doing the job that we should have been executing to put this thing away.
I mean,
And scheming.
To your,
get the ball out of his hands too,
Yeah, and don't put him on the line 15 times. Like,
Yeah, you can't put him on the line 15 times, which,
And, once he gets going, I thought Nimhard there were a couple one-on-ones where I thought Nimhard played just perfect defense, and it didn't matter. Mexi's very talented, and he's real fast.
And I don't mind, look, I mean, the game is designed for, good offense to beat good defense. But when you don't, so you don't get a hand in his face when you're getting open looks for three, and when people just go unguarded, then that's the part where people are elite players are gonna hit elite shots, and that's great. But
there were definitely some missed defensive assignments for sure. Again, lack of communication. I remember, it was Neesmith and I think Obi Toppin were yelling at each other because they missed a switch or something like that. I mean, there was some, I would love to say it's just early seasons. We're gonna figure this out, but those guys all played together all last year, so I don't know.
yeah, that's the kind of defense we came to expect last year, though. So.
That's true. That's true. And all we need is for it to get just, a little better. And but if our offense is going to be this poor, I guess we're going to have to be a better defensive team.
Well, hey, look, plenty of room for improvement. So the coaches are going to have a busy week getting these guys coached up, but it's early days. You don't want to play your best game in the first week of the season.
That's absolutely right. Yeah. And I mean, in some, I was talking to Jill about it, and I was like, in some ways, maybe this Knicks game is exactly what this team needs. Like, just a little punch in the mouth would be the NBA is not easy. Yeah. Like, you got to bring it every night, and you got to, pay attention to the details and focus and all that good stuff. Having not seen this Philly game, I can't comment on how they responded, but, it was a close game. It wasn't like they were out of it. That was a totally winnable game.
No, I think the reason I'm pretty down right now is it wasn't just the Knicks game. I mean, that happens in the NBA. Sometimes you can't hit a shot. Sometimes you're going to get run out of the building. But it did feel like, okay, we're going home and we're playing a team that doesn't have two of their best players. We're just going to be able to win this thing. It didn't feel like we were locked in the way we needed to be. We weren't, doing the small things and getting to the loose balls. And, we got bailed out a couple times on calls. This is a new thing I didn't know. If you challenge an out-of-bounds play, they can go back and look at the whole play and then call a foul. And that happened for us twice. So the ball was out on us, but in both instances, the Philly player fouled us, and so we got 2 shots. Which is a new thing this year.
Good on the NBA for making a commonsensical change. So instead of me watching someone foul someone 5 times in a row, I decided to try and figure out whose ball it is.
Right.
You actually get the call right instead.
Yeah. So that was good. I mean, I guess it's not bailed out. There were fouls on them, but that kept us in the game for sure. If those things hadn't happened, it just didn't feel like these guys were up for the challenge. Maybe this one was just going to work out for them.
Yeah. I mean, we'll talk about it more on Thursday, I'm sure. But the outside of Matherin in that second unit, I feel like the second unit this week didn't have the same oomph that it did last year. There would be games where, like in that New York game, right? Like in the second half, even though we get off to kind of a bad start in the second half, you kind of expect the second unit to come in and rally us and get us back into it. But they weren't really that change of pace, energy infusion that they were last year. Some of it, I think, is lineup stuff. Unfortunately, in game 1 of the season, James Wiseman goes down with a torn Achilles, has surgery. He's done for the year, right? And, we're trying to work Jarris Walker in, who, by the way, has shown he looks good. at some level. So I don't know what's going on. There was something off, I think. I don't know.
Isaiah Jackson was out that first game from injury, and so when Wiseman went down, we were playing our rookie, our second-round draft pick.
Right. Enrique Freeman got a lot
Freeman.
more burn this week than I was expecting.
Yeah, he's the 50th
Still no
pick.
Furphy sightings. I mean,
No
it's just a travesty.
No, there was a small furphy. There was a bit of a furphy in the
he
Knicks
got
game.
5 minutes in the
Did
Knicks
he?
game.
Okay.
Yeah, because, we were down 30 or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah,
So we got
I fast
Furphy.
forwarded through that, but I have to go back and look for my Furphy highlights.
But yeah, so that's too bad. Wiseman looked great in his 5
In
minutes.
his 4 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, he
I
had
think
6
he had
points.
7.
Until he walked backwards. Like, that was the weirdest injury.
Yeah, it just he looked behind him as though somebody had fallen into his leg, and it was just his Achilles snapping, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Poor guy.
4 minutes and 38 seconds.
4 minutes and 38 seconds. Well, he had 6 points, and Rick Carlisle reminded us at the end of the game that we only won by 6. So Wiseman who did it.
Well, so 6 points in 4.5 minutes is a pretty tearing, per minute. Like, this guy's, he's looking at, if he keeps that up, once he comes back, you're looking at 50, 60 points a game out of him.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we are going to have to wait out until next season. We did sign him for 2 years, so luckily nobody else will be able to outbid for the 60 points a game.
Right.
Yeah. I think we
Just
do have a
look at his
team
per
option.
36 numbers.
Team option.
I think we got a team option on next year, but
Okay.
also getting paid over $2 million for 4.5 minutes of work. So
That's not bad.
yeah.
That works out.
I mean, rehab sucks,
Pretty
I can
nice.
tell you.
Well,
Not fun.
It's not fun at all.
all right. Well, I don't think it was the start that any of us wanted for the season. The Pacers get to continue the season, try to turn this around this week. It does not get easier, as I mentioned. Tomorrow we have our first back-to-back of the season, or today, as listeners are listening, at Orlando. And then Wednesday, hosting the Boston Celtics.
Oh, jeez.
That
On
game-
ESPN.
That game's on ESPN. And then Friday at the New Orleans Pelicans.
Ugh. Yeah, Magic look like world beaters right now. Okay, this is going to be a
2-1.
tough week.
Although, didn't they just lose to Toronto or something?
Yeah.
Oh, did they?
They're
Game
2-1.
Okay, game 1 they looked great. I watched them their first game. They looked really
They're potentially a 50-win team. They're pretty good.
Well, we were potentially a 50-win team until this week, so
So what's your prediction, Coulson? Are we 0-3?
0-3.
Okay.
Yeah, come on. I mean, I think I'm really hoping we can win 25 games this season.
If we could just beat out Detroit. Come on, guys.
Yeah. Is it too late to enter the Cooper Flag sweepstakes? Can we just...
No, I think we could do it. I think we should definitely tank for Cooper Flag.
I think we're gonna go 2-1 this week.
Oh,
That's ambitious.
all right.
We're gonna turn it
I'm
around.
1-2. We'll get somebody.
Joey, go for it. You know you want to call the sweep.
Yeah, of course. We're gonna
Is it
sweep
sweep in
this
a
and
good
then-
way?
Sweep in a good way, and then Coulson's gonna. I think all I'm looking for here is for next week. I want Coulson to just apologize for all the bad things he said about the team. He's gonna be moved at a very core base level, and say this team is generational, and he's sorry for what he said.
Or I'll be starting my, plant the flag for Cooper. Whatever. I'll workshop it.
Yeah, let's do that.
Also, did you watch the halftime show, Joe? Or did you have to take the kid to the bathroom or something?
No, we stuck around just because I didn't know what it was going to be, so I wanted to make sure we saw it, and it was all right. Did you see?
Yeah,
that?
the recycled percussionists.
Okay, yeah, I didn't hear.
That was their
catch
name.
Yeah, but basically, well, I mean, you saw it, but for the listeners, it was like 4 steel drums, like steel drums as in barrels, like barrels that you would find full of oil, kind of thing. There were 4 of those. They had like, I don't know, what are those? Angle grinder? Were they like a handheld metal grinder? And they were grinding the drums in time with music to shoot sparks out, which was like pretty cool. So I think some of the subtlety was lost on a 3-year-old. And then the other part they did was like they just had these big old ladders,
Just banged on some ladders.
and they just like drummed on the ladders, which was like kind of cool, I guess. But again, you know, he was not moved to tears. He was moved to anger, but that was coming anyway, you know?
How do you hold up during the no nap?
Yeah, so
Day.
about 6 minutes left in the regulation. He had pretty much hit the wall and was asking for toys, and then really was really into the seat that flips up and down. He flipped that seat up and down many times, and then we took a quick potty break, and once it was going, I was like, I looked, there's like 13 seconds left. I was like, do you want to go sit and watch just to see what happens? And sure enough, we hit Halliburton hits the shot, and then yeah, we struggled. I was like, oh, that means we gotta be here for longer.
Free basketball.
Free basketball. So we left a little bit early. We watched I just had to get him out where he could run around. I'll post a video on our Slack of him just running in circles. They have got a little photo op area, and he's just running in circles. So, yeah, but it was good. We had a very good time. Connie, thanks to Connie, she got us tickets for, and it was a home opener. It was one of the few early games of the year. So, the 3:30 tip. So, shout out to her for getting those tickets. Happened to be home opener, so that was very cool. You get the one thing that I really enjoy about the home opener is you get the full. We get to see people like Furphy. We get to see them in the intros.
Yeah, they introduced the whole team.
The whole team on opening day, so we get to see Furphy out there, and yeah, and the rest of the guys that you won't get maybe introduced the rest of the year. So it's kind of cool. And we get to see Boomer go to the ceiling, which very much concerned my son, because he was like, he thought it was awesome when he went up, but then was confused as to where he was and was he coming back. But I can report back, he made it.
Okay. So Boomer just doesn't live in the sky now?
No, he does not. But it was good. It was good. Well, all right then. I think that should wrap it up for this show. Until next one, you can find us on social media. We are on Twitter at Undebeatables. We're on Facebook.com/TheUndebeatables. Our website is TheUndebeatables.com. There's a contact form there. You can use that to send us a message and email. Shout out at TheUndebeatables.com. And for merch, Coalson, you launched the new T-shirts, right?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. All you got to do is it's fine. Just make sure you get it done by the time that this episode posts. Okay.
Okay, no problem. On it.
Perfect.
For the architect, Donnie Walsh, and our once and always Hall of Fame coach, Bobby Slick Leonard. Turn out the lights, the party's over.
It's an exasperated party is over. Slick would be concerned.
He should be. Rebound the GD ball. Hit your GD free throws. Stop handing the other team the ball.
Oh no, ChatGPT says the longest running Pacers podcast is likely the Indie Cornrows podcast. Boo. Yep. Come on, robots. Yeah. Whoa. This is dumb. I logged in to ChatGPT and then I asked the same question, and now it says the longest running podcast dedicated to the Pacers is likely the Undebeatables. This podcast has built a reputation among Pacers fans for its in-depth team coverage. Yeah, see, that's not ready. That's not true. Consistent release episodes focused on game analysis, player performance, and other team-related news. Apparently, the Undebeatables is particularly celebrated for its longevity and fan-centric approach.